determined. We're trying to... screw you guys.
Hello everyone, I'm Keen947, aka Wolfkeen, and welcome to another edition of my My Little Pony Vlogs for Season 3. Today, I'm talking about Apple Family Reunion, written by Cindy Morrow. What's happening to you this season, Cindy? What happened? I mean, I don't hate this episode by any means. I don't. It's just... this episode's pretty forgettable for me, and that's kind of a shame to say, considering that Cindy Morrow wrote some of my favorite episodes of Season 2, and now she wrote an episode that I really don't care about here in Season 3, along with one episode I hate, which is One Bad Apple. So, let's get into it. The episode starts with basically the Apples gathering a few things for the Apple Family Reunion. Apparently, every pony is coming to the Apple Family Reunion. And they do mean every pony of the Apple family, from Appaloosa, Philadelphia, Manhattan, and yada yada yada, and various other locations. So one thing that they do decide to show, one thing that happens is that Granny Smith says that she's going to be busy this year, especially with all the family coming. But Applejack decides to, give her services, basically saying, let me run the reunion this time, and you could relax this time around. And Granny Smith decides to agree with this idea, and basically show Applejack some of the memories they had during the Apple Family Reunion, as well as the procedures. I do like this scene because we actually get to see more of the Apple family, like some of their traditions when it comes to doing a reunion and stuff like that, and it's actually kind of cool seeing the different characters of the Apple family. This is something that I actually like. I've never been to a family reunion, unfortunately, so I really can't empathize with people who have been to them, but it looks like a fun experience. Like, family reunions look like a very fun experience. And this episode does give a good idea of what a family reunion is like. So, I do like this aspect of it. So, basically, Applejack says that she wants to make this reunion the best reunion ever. Because, considering that everybody's getting more busy and otherwise, it's going to be hard for everyone to get back together like this another time in the near future. That sounds like a very close... like analogy for everyday life in today's day and age, if you think about it. So basically, we move on to the next day, where Applejack basically has everything planned out for the apples, and we get to see all the apples coming in. I mean, this scene where we see all the apples coming in, greeting each other, saying hi to each other, making up for lost time and stuff like that, I like this scene. It's definitely a cool scene to to watch, because it shows how close-knit their family is, and even though they've been far away from each other, they still maintain a really good relationship with each other. This is why I say I love, this is why I hold family in such a high regard. But then we move on to the one portion of the episode that does begin to bug me in some cases. Applejack overbearing the reunion. Now, here's the thing. Applejack wants this to be the best reunion ever. I can understand this. But the way she's going about it is just, ridiculous in many cases. I mean, for instance, with the 7-legged race, she has all these, ponies running almost like, I don't know, like a triathlon kind of field. I mean, look at this scene and tell me that does not look like one hell of a distance for a child to run. Then they're supposed to run around trees, balance plates on their head, while saying, happy pony pick a plot. I can't even say it. I'm not even going to try to say it, but you get what I mean. It's like, Applejack, this isn't going to make them any closer. This is going to kill them in many cases. And it even shows later on where they're actually tired and even why are we doing this? And that's kind of the thing with the episode. It just keeps going and going and going with Applejack trying to overbear everything. Like turning, the friendly making apple fritters into a workload. To, instead of, casually knitting the quilt, they're using machines now. It's like she's trying way too hard to make this good. And I can understand this because I've done that once before. I have tried too hard in a situation to basically make something work, and it has backfired in the end, and that's what's happening in this episode. It's backfiring. So what ends up happening is that afterwards, she begins to try to take pictures, but of course, everybody's tired and stuff like that, and pretty much she really can't. So she has one more idea to help make the family make the family happy. Basically, they decided to do a hayride through the West Orchard, which apparently was infested by fruit bats, according to Granny Smith and Big Mac. We even get to see these fruit bats in a really admittedly cool rainbow design. I mean, that is pretty cool visually. I will give the episode this. Visually, it is cool. I do love the dynamics with the family. I do love the visuals in this episode, and the animation is pretty good as well. Not to mention, I do find a good few laughs in this episode, at least from time to time. But I know you're about to ask me, why do I find this episode boring? Well, I haven't really said it outright, but I'm just going to say it right now. It's nothing special. This episode is nothing special if you really think about it. Besides the family dynamic, which I like, but then again, that's something we already knew about Applejack, that she holds family to such a high regard. So it's not like we're touching upon new ground. We're just re-establishing, something old. Now, that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying that's a bad thing to re-establish or touch upon something that's already been established. Don't get me wrong. We have done that in the show before. But it needs to be done with something new involved as well. Otherwise, it's just a retread or a retelling of what we already know, and that could get very boring in many situations. So, basically, the hayride goes completely wrong. Everyone bails out, and then it crashes right into the barn, pretty much destroying it. How many times has that barn been destroyed throughout the entire series? Probably not a lot, but considering everything, Jesus Christ. Someone needs to make a counter on that, or leave a comment down below. Or I'll make a caption, whatever. But, that's when Applejack starts to feel sad because she feels like that she ruined the family reunion. And in many cases, really does not, it's sad because she feels like she caused the worst reunion ever. However, Granny Smith does tell her that that Applejack was trying too hard. That she shouldn't be trying so hard and just let things, take their course. In the reunion, the thing is that everybody will have their fun in the reunion. You just have to help facilitate it. You don't have to go so far into making people have fun with each other. Being with family, sometimes you just, sometimes that kind of stuff just happens. Hell, I can attest to this. Even when you're, doing something boring, if you're with, a family member, you could find a way to make a boring situation fun. That's pretty much the idea with, the family reunion. These guys haven't seen each other in such a long time, so it's cool that they'll get to talk with each other and hang out with each other. It's just Applejack took it a little bit too far, which is what Granny Smith was warning her about. And pretty much said it like, everyone's still here, we can still make good memories, you just gotta make sure you allow us to. And that's when Applejack has the idea to basically, one more event. But unfortunately, which is the photo in front of the barn, which just got destroyed. So she has one more event planned for the entire family, and this leads to, the one song in the episode, Raise This Barn. Now, I know what people are going to... Now, you know my idea about this, guys. Songs do not factor into my overall enjoyment of an episode. And I'm going to be honest with Raise This Barn, it's not something I would listen to. I mean, I'm a fan of Western and country music. I am the fan of the beat. I love the beat to this song, and I love that it's... I guess the best word for this song is it's annoyingly catchy. It's a song I don't want to listen to on repeat too many times, but yet I can't help myself but go back and listen to it because of how annoyingly catchy it is. I'm pretty sure we all have that one song that we heard on the radio and we're just like, oh, I hate the fact that I keep singing this song, but you can't keep help but singing it anyways. That's kind of like Raise This Barn in a nutshell for me. But I do like the song Raise This Barn, at least when it comes to progressing the plot, because we see the entire family working together, enjoying themselves, building the barn, and all the while having a good laugh. I think that's a cool thing with it. I think that's a cool concept with this. I do like that. I do like the episode for that, at least. And pretty much the episode ends with, everyone seeing each other off, saying goodbye until the next family reunion. And you know what? This is a very somber scene. I do like this. I do like how somber this scene is. Everybody saying goodbye to each other because who knows when they'll actually all meet up like this again. It's kind of a somber scene if you think about it. So, pretty much there's nothing else for me to talk about with this episode, and that's Apple Family Reunion. I know you're about to say, why do you said I found this episode boring, and yet I found quite a few things to like about the episode. Well, really considering it, I guess this episode does have a little bit more than I thought it did. I mean, now that I'm looking at the episode more analytically and stuff like that, I do think the episode is at least better in my mind when I think of it that way, because I love the family aspects and stuff like that in the episode, and I definitely love the visuals and otherwise in the episode, but it's Applejack that bugs me the most in this episode, how she overbears and takes things way too far, and at the same time, it's not really nothing too interesting is happening within this episode. It's just family dynamics. Now, if you're into family dynamics, that's going to be something you'll love, but if you're not into this kind of dynamic or don't care for it, this is an episode that you're probably going to want to skip or something of the like. So I guess the best word for me when it comes to this episode is I'm conflicted. Part of me is bored with this episode, but another part of me enjoys some of the aspects of this episode. So it's really hard for me to say, do I hate this episode or do I like this episode? I don't know. I hate to say it, but this is one of the few times I'm conflicted with an episode. So I'm just going to say it's a good episode. I will say it's a good episode, at least for me. At least for me, it's a good episode to an okay episode, at least for me. I know there are some people who probably don't like this episode. Maybe they don't care for the family aspect or something like that. That's fine. But for me, because of the family aspect, I'm willing to lean towards it being more of a good episode. But otherwise, it seems okay for me. Like I said, I'm highly conflicted about this episode. So I really can't go against Cindy Morrow on this one. I don't know at this point. But then again, I'll find out once we get to my top 5 favorite and least favorite of season 3. So not much I can say on this front. So until next time, guys, I'm Keen47, aka Wolfkeen. Hope you enjoyed. And until next time, guys, take care.